Welcome to the Even Better podcast, where your host, Sinikka Waugh of Your Clear Next Step, brings you exciting content about making communities better by helping people get even better at work.
Today's episode is brought to you by Your Clear Next Step in the Changemaker Certification Program.
Would you like to save time by solving the right problem sooner with a realistic and measurable plan? Reduce overwhelm by finding more sustainably productive ways to work? Improve employee morale by creating more positive workdays from within? Stay competitive by tightening your turn or increasing your agility in adapting to changing customer demands? If you said yes to those things, then we have the solution for you.
Interested in becoming a changemaker? Give us a call at 515-442-0545.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again on this next episode of the Even Better podcast. And I am here with my friend Christine Samuel, and I am so delighted to have Christine back. And today's conversation is just going to be a fun one. Christine, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Sinikka, for inviting me to another podcast. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about.
Well, I am too. And I am delighted for the opportunity to learn from you. Every time I spend time with you, Christine, I come away wiser. I come away with a chance to have thought about things more deeply and reflected on things a little bit more carefully. And one of the things that I have always delighted in about you, Christine, is that you bring out intentionality into our lives, intentionality in thought, intentionality in listening, intentionality in play when we need to play, and connecting with one another. And I genuinely appreciate that about you. I know that our listeners can find the work that you do on deep listening and in your TED Talk and in your new book. How is your new book going, Christine?
It's going well. It's out there, and it's giving me opportunity to talk about it and to share the message that is needed right now. Because, as we all know, my book title called The Heart Space, Living with Grace and Ease in an Era of Uncertainty. And we all know now is that era, the uncertainty that is so strong, and we need some, place or a ground, like a safe space to ground ourselves and to find our inner clarity.
For sure. I love these uncertain times we're living in, said no one ever. And so I appreciate that you've offered a text to help us find that way to live with grace and ease during these tough times. So thank you for that. And today we're going to be talking about one of those moments that can happen, and it can happen to all of us. It can happen to any of us. We're going to be talking about how we handle conflict, how we handle tough moments in the training that I deliver here at Your Clear Next Step. We have a class called Navigating Through Tough Moments. And we're going to talk about one of these tough moments and what they look like. We've sort of genericized it in the way of describing it as what to do when someone feels disappointed, right? So it's a moment where if person A, someone feels disappointed and that something didn't work the way they were hoping, a thing just didn't turn out the way that someone had hoped, or someone's disappointed with the outcome of something, or disappointed because something didn't show up. And person A, so someone is unhappy with the way the thing, whatever it was, turned out, they're disappointed. And person B, someone else is accountable with that thing having worked or having been a certain way. So we can stop and kind of imagine these experiences, and we can imagine these moments. And whether it is, I don't think it matters what your job is. I think we all experience this, whether you're a customer service representative, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a business analyst, whether you're a project manager, whether you're an executive. I think we're all going to experience moments where someone is less than thrilled with something that turned out, and someone is accountable for that thing. And whether we're the one who was less than pleased or we're the one who was accountable, we've all been on one or the other sides of that. And so what you and I have talked about, Christine, is this opportunity to share kind of firsthand experiences, our own sentiments in our own experiences of how do you get through that? How do you get through conflict or a tough moment when two people have to talk about it, when two people have to when two people get to come in this tough moment talking together about this thing that missed expectations, that someone is disappointed and someone else was accountable for it being something else.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to do to tee us up there?
Yeah, I just want to bring this up because maybe when we say it, it's more like I am the one who, I'm, A or B. But this has happened naturally happen actually in any relationship, in any interaction, especially at work, where let's say you are a team and you need to deliver something and you have some expectation and somebody else doing it differently, or at the end of the day result was not as you expected. And I think I want to be honest, I think that's Sinikka and I had that experience in our working relationship. And this is not just about theory, but we come here to also reflect back and bring something that we learn about it so that how we navigate this can be applied to you as listeners.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And whether you're whether the thing that you're delivering is something physical that you have to tangibly box up and ship out, or whether it's something that it's a concept or an idea, and whether you're the one who is like, I did this and I did this with all my heart and I thought I understood what you wanted, or you're the one who said, I thought I explained what I was looking for. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but we can all imagine a situation in which expectations were missed, and
Mhm.
with all intentions of doing our best at work, with all intentions. There was a study that came out, and I want to say it was 2016, that seemed to indicate that 99.9% of us show up at work wanting to do our best. 99.9% of us show up at work wanting to do our best. We want to do our best. So we don't show up saying, hey, I hope I can ruin your day today, or hey, I hope I can really let you down. Nobody does that. We don't do that. And even the 0.1 weren't saying, hey, I hope I can make it awful. It was a meh, I'm barely paying attention. We want to do a good job. And so when the things don't go right, that conversation that we wind up having is so important and so vital for working relationships, because rarely is it based in you were trying to make this awful, you were trying to ruin someone's day, you were trying to sabotage. That's not it. So often the message really is couched in wow, we missed. How did we miss? I missed, you missed, we missed. Something didn't align. How do we get back to center?
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And, in most cases, people will get to learn something like this, would get like step one, step two, step three, talk about it or whatever it is. But I think there's a lot of going on as we know it. It's not just about the action that we want to take, but choices we make, how we deal with the feelings that we have. Like, maybe angry, frustration, judgment. And that judgment could be judging ourselves or judging the person in front of us. Um, and I think the emotion are pretty strong in the moment, especially if you have high expectation, or this is like things that is a big thing that you delivered. So how can we first, the insight first, like how to deal with that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I love
what
this.
can
So I have this class that I teach, and I've been teaching it for years, called Navigating Through Tough Moments. And to your point about the things going on inside, I have this model that I teach that says it's all wrapped in effective communication, right? And you wrap it all in effective communication, but you start with, you make it safe, and then you demonstrate. So you make sure that everybody's having a safe moment, a safe conversation. And if we're too emotionally charged, we shouldn't have the conversation yet. We got to wait till it's safe, and then we practice unconditional positive regard, and then we find our common purpose, and then we get to candor. And as we've been kind of debriefing and thinking about this, there's this wonderful realization that you helped me help me understand. It's not sequential. We can teach them in this sequential model, and we cannot get to common purpose, and we cannot get to candor if the conversation is not safe, and if the conversation doesn't demonstrate unconditional positive regard. But while we're having the conversation, all of these things are still present. It's not like we leave one behind. We don't make it safe and then we say, oh, check, it's safe, so we don't have to come back to be safe. Oh, I demonstrated unconditional positive regard, so I don't have to do that again. It's all of these things all at once. So I think the three things that I want to unpack and I want to just help us do, the there are three things that as we've talked about this and we've gone through this a couple of times, there are three basic, and we'll unpack this for our listeners here. And it doesn't matter where you are in your career or where you are in your, you can use this at home too. It's not just at work. Three things that we believe made this so profound for us navigating through this tough moment and navigating through conflict in a way that made our relationship, I believe, stronger than ever. I believe that we are in a different place right now, Christine, than we've ever been, and a much more solid, much stronger, much more empathetic, much deeper relationship than we've been. And I think it's a result of not necessarily the conflict, but the way we managed the conflict. So I think these are the three tips. So the first one, and we'll unpack them one at a time, but the first one was working through this with respecting each other. So starting this from a place of respect, from us starting, and respect sounds so basic. It's deeper than that, but honor. I'm going to take from respect and go even maybe a little deeper to honoring one another as humans. Sometimes in the heat of a moment, and you were alluding to this, Christine, in the heat of the emotions, right? We get outside of our regulated centered zone, we get triggered by something, and it either may cause us to shut down or may cause us to get all riled up. And then we forget that the other person is just that, a person, a human being who brings so much value to the table, that if we're so caught up in our emotions and we're so caught up in our frustration, irritation, anxiety, even to resolve it, even our desire to fix it, even an honest, genuine desire to, okay, let's fix it and move on. Let's fix it and move on. Let's fix it and move on. Even that can get in the way of centering in, I love this person. I honor this person. I respect and value this human in front of me who brings so very much to the table. And one of the things that I think we both do exceptionally well, I'm going to pat us both on the back on this one, because I think we do this, and I don't think we do this because we have a script. I think we do this as genuine humans, is that we value one another. And I think that's a foundational secret. And I think it shouldn't be a secret. I think everybody should do it. This is table stakes. You got to start by looking at that other person and saying, but I value you. I appreciate you. You contribute so much. And if in that moment of conflict, if for some reason if you're listening to this and you're like, but I don't know what I value about them, well, then close your mouth for a second and start thinking about the things that you do value about them, because there's something there. They contribute.
Yeah. I like what you're saying. And sometimes the thing about how our brain works is like, if I'm thinking about this, that means that person is not that, it's like black and white. But can we kind of give space for ourselves with our feelings? Of course, there's a disappointment, for example, there's a emotion, and acknowledge that, because of course, like, if you have expectation, you may get disappointed. You may, there's some fear and things like that, but also be aware of your value. Like, I think all of us could agree that, respecting one another and honoring one another and looking at the person is not just by their mistake that they screw up on a little thing, but seeing the whole person, like the way you see yourself as a whole. So it's giving that balanced perspective where you can hold both, feeling what you feel, because feeling emotion will, it's like clouds go away, coming back strong, and you can feel it, but also understanding the whole perspective of how you see other human. And I like what we talked before, that what Sinikka and I did is we give space for our own self first, like have a moment to yourself to to allow to be with that emotions instead of going forward and allowing that emotion to drive your common sense. So I think we both give space for that. You want to talk more about that, Sinikka?
Yeah, I love this. And I think this is really the second answer here. And I think that first one, respecting and valuing one another as a human, and that second one is giving that space, as you put it. We allowed ourselves, both of us, if I look at this journey that we were on, we didn't have a conversation that first day, or there were a couple days past and we had a conversation, then we came back to it a little bit later, and then we came back to it a little later after we'd each had time to think and pause and reflect. And I think we both did work with conversations with ourselves. Like we did work with ourselves, and we allowed ourselves the human emotion of feelings and hurt and frustration and all the things that we feel, judgment, shame, whatever they are, right? And when you're in that place and something, disappointment, feeling judged, judging back, all those emotions that we feel, I think we each allowed ourselves to feel those things and have those conversations with ourselves and reflect and pace through them and work through them and figure out because your feelings are your feelings. And I know I say this one a lot, our feelings are our feelings. And we didn't say, no, you're not allowed to have that feeling, or no, that feeling isn't valid, or no, that's dumb. It was, yep, yep, you're having that feeling right now. Okay, let's work with that. Let's see what's going on. And then we even talked through those feelings. Like you and I talked about, well, in this moment, I felt this. And in your moment, so I imagined you might have felt something, and you said, well, I felt this. And so we talked about our feelings, but we had taken the time first to feel it, so that then when we could talk about it, we could talk about the feelings together instead of feeling the feelings, which sometimes prevents us from talking about them together. So we did the thing first and then talked about it after.
Yeah. And what we did after a while, and then we come back and talk about it, I think in a way, what happened with that respect, like you come and you meet with the other person, having conversation with that intention, you can kind of feel safe. There's a safe space, right? First of all, like you said, I think two things, like navigating through tough moments. First of all, you need to have a conversation with yourself, navigating that tough moment. As you navigating that, then have a conversation with the person that involved. And at that moment, in a way that why it's so healing, in a way, kind of restoring, we are open with speaking about our feeling, what we experience. And that's require vulnerability. And what's amazing, if we allow each other to be safe, to express, oh, you know what, at that moment, we felt this way, we can come and discuss it in more peaceful way, and at the same time, feeling acknowledged by ourselves and by the others too. And when we have that reflection, we have more understanding, because we all felt being judged, what it feels like. We all felt disappointment, what it feels like. So it become, oh yeah, I can feel that too. Yeah, I can understand. Of course you feel that way, right? And that's basically an acknowledgement, a loving place where we can say, yeah, I understand you. I understand what happened.
Yeah. Again, and I think that goes back to that first point, which is about respecting and honoring the other person. And then that second point, working through the feelings and the emotions, respecting and honoring ourselves enough to do that work. and then coming together and having a healthy, productive conversation, and honoring each other enough to say, yeah, this is what I went through. This is what I experienced. Yeah, I imagine you did. And this is what I experienced. Oh yeah, I imagine you did. And we could talk about that. And then I think that gets us to the third point, which is why I think we're so successful through this. And this is the willingness, and not just willingness, the appetite, energy, the joy, our desire to delight in and learn from it, and look at this conflict as something to grow from, something to learn from. So when I grew up in a general atmosphere of conflict avoidance. That's to just run away. Conflict, oh, run and hide. That's sort of I'm just as happy. Just conflict, oh, let's just go away. We'll just avoid it. That was a framework that's very easy for me to slide right into. But in this case, and in many cases, I don't find that to be entirely productive. I think if we go through, I think what's so marvelous about this particular thing is, and our particular situation right here, is that we can point to the healthy, productive way of that we went, okay, so what do we do? How do we learn from this? How do we grow from this? How do we take this moment? Because I treasure you. I don't just respect you and honor you. I treasure you, and I want to keep working with you. And I had these feelings, and you had these feelings, and we didn't love the icky feelings, and we won't always be able to protect ourselves from all icky feelings, but we didn't love the yucky ones. So how do we learn from this and do even better next time? Like, how do we grow from this? And we both approached it with that growth mindset. We both approached it with a desire to do better together. And man, I think that is a third key right there.
Yeah, I love what you're saying because, again, any relationship is not always smooth. And through this friction, if we can overcome it, that connection becomes stronger. We become like it create that safe space container where we can be ourselves because we've gone through things, then we overcome it together. And I believe it's also required for us to have this mindset. I want to add what you said about growth. It's also like for me, I believe everything have solutions. There's no like that's it. Like, okay, bye. It's like if you really want something, you can have solution through conversation, because through dancing, through like being in the flow, we can flow through stuckness. And as we face it, like Sinikka too, I have my, I love to avoid conflict. I would just go away. Why would I face it, right? But then I know I would not grow if I keep running. And I grow if I faced it. And again, another great experience because I learned something from it. The relationship that we have has more, it's just a different level every time after you able to overcome it together, like dance with it, flow with it. It's not like that's your fault, that's my fault, or like it's like, hey, how do we move forward together?
Yeah, it's really lovely. Yeah, I think somewhere as we were preparing for this and thinking about it, I think somewhere along the line the phrase developmental trauma came up. Like sometimes when we learn things, we learn them the hard way, right? We've heard that phrase, we learn things the hard way. And if we approach conflict, especially in conflict in relationships, if we approach that instead of like developmental trauma, but as a growth opportunity, as something that is, this is a chance to grow together. This is a chance to deepen our relationship. This is a chance to move forward together. And I'm not saying that we go seeking out conflict. That's not what I'm saying. But if we embrace it as, how do I learn from this? How do we learn from this? How do we grow? How do we do better from this? It's somehow less scary, and it becomes something that we navigate through together, not as a call that, oh man, I'm dreading that call, or I'm dreading that conversation, or oh, I've got a feeling in the pit of my stomach that I have to talk to so and so this afternoon. It's not that. It's, oh, we get to work through this because we're going to grow from it.
Yeah. And one thing I also want to add is like there's so much damage for avoiding a conversation that is needed because you would live with all the assumption about the other person, about yourself, without getting clarification. But when we meet and really speak sincerely with that shared intention, with respect and honoring one another, it's like it's clear up. It's clear up and it feels good to walk without that burden of judgment or assumption, or you're avoiding somebody when you meet them, especially if you work together in person in the same office. So facing it and having conversation, it's so much helpful than avoiding it. That's what I learned.
Yes. Face it, have the conversation and then grow from it. And
Yeah.
don't avoid it. Yeah. Yeah. What else would you add to put a bow on this, Christine?
This is a great any friction you have. Of course, you're not like you said, Sinika, like we're not seeking it, but things happen. Everyone has their own expectation. Use it for opportunity to growth. Use it as a learning experience, to learn how to communicate authentically, how to use words and intention to move you forward together rather than separate you apart.
Yeah. The friction is always there. It will always be there. There will always be some place in our lives where there will be some friction. We don't have to go seeking it out. It's going to find us.
Yeah.
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 But if we use it to grow, and if we, that's right, I think I'll go back to these three nuggets. If we treat the other person involved with respect as a human being, if we honor them and honor their contributions and the things that we value about them, if we work at it with ourselves first, take the time that we need to support ourselves and work through what we need to work through on our own first, and then delight in and look forward to growth together. And I think, man, I think we can get through those tough moments and wind up with deeper, stronger, richer, better relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Christine, thank you. And what is, this wouldn't be the Even Better podcast if I didn't ask my question. What's making you even better these days?
Um, for me, a self-reflection, and also for New Year, I have intentional words that I carry for this year. So that is flow, that everything works for the best, and life is working for me rather than to me. So like I'm always be supported, and everything works in flow. So if I believe that, even when I feel challenges or in doubt, um, I always can go back to like, I believe that life is like a flow. And that's what I like to embody this year.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it. Well, Christine, if people want to get in touch with you, of course, they can reach out to us at Your Clear Next Step and we will get them in touch with you. Are there other ways that they can connect with you?
Yeah, you can connect me through LinkedIn, also through my websites, christinesamuel.ca or innerworkmatters.com. And also my book. You can find my book on Amazon or any other bookstores.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And I recommend it, my friends. It's a great read. So um, thank you. Thank you, Christine. Thanks for your time today. Thank you for your genuine perspective on this conversation. And thank you for your continued collaboration. It is a joy to work with you.
Thank you for having me, Sinika.
It's a joy. And for those of you who are listening, thanks for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a like, give us a share, share it with your friends, pause, take a moment to review and share some comments out on wherever you listen to podcasts. That's how we get further feedback that we're doing the things that we need to do. So thank you for that. And thanks for listening in. And on behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, we hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for tuning in today. The Even Better podcast will be back with more content soon. But in the meantime, subscribe to our podcast or check out our website at yourclearnextstep.com for more information. See you next episode.